Kia ora, everyone. Welcome, welcome. You guys are nice and early, so we'll just sit here awkwardly for a few more minutes until we get lots more people to join. Kia ora, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're just going to give it one more minute before we get started. You can see we've got plenty more, hopefully, to join us today. Give it 30 more seconds and then we'll get stuck in. Okay. All right, we'll get started, guys, because there's a fair bit to get through today. But kia ora, and happy International Food Waste Action Week, everyone. I'm Sophie. I'm the Program Manager for Love Food Hate Waste New Zealand, and it's really great to have you here. I am joined by my two amazing colleagues, Juno and Jel, who will be managing the chat and letting everyone into the room. We know everyone's really busy, so we really appreciate you taking the time today. In particular, it's really nice to have lots of our subscribers joining us today. Usually you know us through our social media and monthly emails, so it's really great to have a chance for you to put some faces to the work that's happening behind those channels. I also want to shout out our amazing council partners for helping get some of their staff along today and their communities involved. Your support really does help us take this important kaupapa further. And lastly, I want to do a huge thank you to Woolworths for getting behind the Leftover Legends campaign and sponsoring our amazing prize. Just a reminder before we get stuck in, this session will be recorded or is being recorded. For anyone that couldn't make it along today or wants to watch the session back. So you're welcome to have your cameras on, but please do bear that in mind. So today we're going to cover off why food waste matters and the scale of food waste here in Aotearoa, and then we're going to dive into some really simple steps that you can take to reduce your food waste and make the most of those legendary leftovers. Now, we want you to join in throughout the webinar, so feel free to use your reaction button at the top of the screen. If you've learnt something new, or you see something that you like, or maybe you don't like, feel free to pop questions in the chat. Or if you've got your own tips that you'd like to share with us, feel free to drop those in the chat as well. So, excuse me, let's dive in. So I guess we're going to start with a little bit of sadder news, or the reality of the situation. Food waste isn't just a problem here in Aotearoa. Globally, around 40% of all food that's produced is wasted. And much of that food sadly ends up in landfill. Now, when food waste ends up in landfill, it breaks down without oxygen, it produces leachate and releases methane and other greenhouse gases as it rots away. And the climate impact is huge. So if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest contributor to global carbon emissions behind China and the US. And while food is wasted all the way along the supply chain, so from the farm to processing and transports through retail and hospitality, in New Zealand, around 30% of all wasted food comes from us in our homes. And this just doesn't just have an environmental impact, it has a huge financial impact. So the 2025 Rabobank Kiwi Harvest Survey showed Kiwi households waste around $3 billion worth of food every year. That's around $1,300 per household on average. And that's enough to feed Dunedin for 3 years, which is incredible. Now, the good news is reducing food waste at home is one of the easiest and most efficient actions individuals can take to limit climate change. That's ahead of electric cars or putting solar panels on your roof. And dare I say it, I know there's a few council people in the building, it's even more effective than recycling. We want you to do all of those things, mind you. But yeah, it just goes to show that simple actions or simple changes can really, really make a difference. And those changes can be as simple as eating our leftovers. So I'd love for you to all use the heart reaction at the top of your screen if you're pretty good at eating leftovers. I can see a bunch of hearts go up there, which is fantastic to see. And the latest data from the Ministry for the Environment was sort of on par with the love hearts there. And that showed that 96% of us say that we sometimes or always eat our leftovers. We all have really great intentions when it comes to leftovers, but we often don't have a plan for them. And when they get lost at the back of the fridge, or kind of just, plans change and you forget about them, they can evolve into a new life form. So I'd love you to put a laughing emoji on the screen, or laughing at a reaction using the top of your screen if you've ever found yourself in this situation at home. If I could react right now, I would also do that. I'm not perfect. This does happen in my household as well. Or perhaps if you haven't had this happen at home, maybe you've discovered some questionable containers lurking in your office fridge. We know that can be a problem when people have great intentions. They take their lunch to work, but life gets in the way. So if you have reacted, you are definitely not alone. I do wonder if we had the office cleaners in this room, if there might have been a few more reactions there, or they might look at things differently. But yeah, you're definitely not alone. Leftovers not being eaten or reused is the top reason for why Kiwi households waste their food. In fact, we send around 12,000 tonnes of leftovers to landfill every year, which is around 34.3 million plates of food. So a tragic waste of time, money, and all that delicious food. So that's why we're here today, guys. We are hoping that you'll join us and all become leftover legends. Now, the challenge with leftovers is often not a lack of really good intentions. It's a lack of a plan. We put them away, meaning to eat them later, but without a clear plan or idea of when or how they're going to be used, they can be easily forgotten. So how do we turn those good intentions into action? A simple way is to build a flexible meal plan, build in your leftovers with a flexible meal plan from the start. And that's where our 4Cs comes in. So it doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to take ages. You could literally get this done in 10 minutes. You're just doing a 3-day meal plan. So yeah, first up is check your week. First C, check your week. What have you got on? What's planned? You know, what nights might you have late meetings, or the kids have got sport after work, after school? What are those nights that you'll just be too tired to cook, and really kind of reheating leftovers or a slice of toast might be your only option. Then next up, we have check what you've got. So we want you to open the fridge, do a quick scan, check what needs using up first, what leftover bits and bobs are sitting there kind of waiting for their moment. And then thirdly, choose your meals and keep it flexible. So we encourage you to choose a couple of stretch dinners, perhaps, using the same key ingredient over a couple of nights, or include one or two kind of freezer-friendly options that you can pull from the freezer, or you can leave in the freezer if plans change at the last minute. And of course, we want you to plan in those leftovers. So the simplest is literally just taking them for lunch the next day. So if you've got that leftover bit of lasagna from the night before, take it for lunch, a free lunch, and you know, you'll be the envy of all your colleagues. In our house, we also love to have a Friday fridge harvest, where we round up all the odds and ends, rescue those lonely containers and turn them into a bits and bobs dinner. A friend of mine that has teenagers, she calls it the Fend for Yourself Friday, where she basically tells the kids you can eat any of the leftovers, anything on the Eat Me First shelf, or you know, the odds and ends kind of knocking about in the fridge. Or on the weekends, you know, when you've got perhaps a little bit more time, consider cooking an extra portion or two for the freezer that you can pull, you know, during that midweek when you're just too tired to cook. And finally, that final C is create your list. So write down only what you need. So you shop with purpose and you save money and don't get sucked into that multi-buy. Now, you know, we've got to remember that 2-for-1 broccoli that you think is a bargain at the supermarket is only a bargain if you actually have a plan for that broccoli and it actually gets eaten. So once you've got your plan, it really helps to put it somewhere visible. That might be a magnetic meal planner on the fridge, or it could be you download our free printable meal planner from our website, or it could be just a scrap of paper that you stick to the fridge or on the dining table. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be somewhere that helps you keep your plan front of mind. If digital works for you, there are some really awesome Kiwi-owned tools out there as well. There's the VJ Cook's Cook Plan app, which is awesome, or the Favour app, which was developed by a young Kiwi dad from Auckland. And that actually also connects to the Woolworths shopping cart, so it can make your life even easier when kind of going to do that shop. Now, our research also shows that lots of people toss their leftovers because of food safety fears. So they're not quite sure what's still safe, and it just sort of feels easier to err on the side of caution and bin it. So keeping leftovers safe is really, really simple. You just need to follow the 2-2-2 rule. So you want to cool and refrigerate your leftovers within 2 hours. You want to eat them within 2 days. If you're not going to eat them within 2 days, pop them in the freezer and they'll last at least 2 months for best quality. So yeah, follow that 2-2-2 rule and you don't have to worry about or have those safety fears kind of holding you back from indulging in your deliciously cooked leftovers. Then it's really important, if you're reheating leftovers, that we reheat like a legend. So warm isn't the goal here. You want to make sure it's properly hot. So always reheat leftovers until they're piping hot, or over 75 degrees. And we recommend only kind of reheating what you're going to eat. So if you've got a big batch of bolognese, reheating that whole container over and over can sometimes dry it out, and it can make it a little bit less appealing. So just portion it out and reheat what you want. And that way, if you're not going to hit the rest of that container within two days, you can pop the rest in the freezer. Next up, we have don't be chicken, because we get lots of questions around chicken, and poultry is consistently in the top 5 foods that we throw away. So Kiwis throw away around 3,400 tonnes of poultry every year. That's about 20 chickens per person, which is a phenomenal amount of chicken. So, we've just got to make sure we kind of keep it safe. So the reality is, with chicken, when handled and reheated right, chicken leftovers can be perfectly safe to eat. You want to make sure you cool any leftover chicken immediately, and get it into the fridge as soon as possible, within 2 hours. You want to make sure that it's covered or in a sealed container. And again, follow that 2-2-2 rule. Eat that chicken within 2 days. To safely reheat chicken, again, you want to get it piping hot, so over 75 degrees. And you don't want to reheat chicken more than once. So it's a key difference there. If you are reheating chicken in the microwave, we've seen from all the submissions with our leftover legend salad, a lot of curries with chicken in there, or lovely stews and things. So if you are reheating chicken in the microwave, you do need to give it a bit of a stir to turn that chicken over and make sure all the parts of that chicken are heated all the way through, nice and evenly. And keep it covered when you reheat it, so it doesn't dry out too much. But again, you can freeze cooked chicken. So long as you follow these guidelines, and reheat it only once, it can freeze really well. I'll just pause there and throw it over to Juno. Any questions coming up in the chat, Juno? I've seen a few reactions along the way.
Yeah, some great reactions. We've just had one question about where to get the Money Saver Meal Planner. So I've just linked to that in the chat if anyone else is interested. But yeah, just a reminder, we do run some social media giveaways and often give away the magnetic meal planner as well. So yeah, jump on our socials and give us a like and a follow, and hopefully you'll see something like that come up soon.
Yes, that's a good shout out, Juno. And we do use a local printer for those magnetic planners. Perhaps, Jill, can you chuck in the chat? Their name escapes me, but it's a lovely family-run organisation, and the quality of their magnetic meal planners are fabulous. So they print ours, but they also have some beautiful ones available on their website as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, storing it smart, because how you pack away your leftovers often decides whether they get eaten. So we really recommend that every Kiwi household has an Eat Me First shelf. You set up a dedicated shelf or tray for the leftovers or other items that need to be eaten first. It serves as a really great visual prompt and communication tool for the whole family to remind us of the food that we need to prioritize. And it's a great place to go first when you're kind of doing your meal plan and checking what you've got. Now, I can hear some of you thinking in the virtual room right now, my fridge does not now nor ever will look like the fridge on screen. And I appreciate that. I know that many fridges in New Zealand are much fuller, much more chaotic, lots coming in and out. So we have found that families or busy households have found having a tray or a clear container like the one on screen works really well, because they can move it around the fridge, and kind of when they need to Tetris all the items in their fridge, they can do that. But it's definitely worth giving it a go. 91% of the folks that have used our Eat Me First sticker, reusable sticker, have said that it's helped them reduce their food waste, and it is saving them money by not buying things that they might have purchased when they didn't really need to. Next up, we want to store our leftovers in transparent, airtight containers and keep them at eye level in your fridge. Ultimately, when you can see your leftovers, you're far, far more likely to eat them. And add a date to your leftovers. Very simple stuff, this, guys. Even if it's just sort of Tuesday on a bit of masking tape, or if you've got glass containers or the old Systema, you can use I use a whiteboard marker. Works really well. You can just wipe it off, because knowing when it was cooked and what it is takes out the guesswork. Again, if you've got busy families or households with teenagers, they'll feel much more confident using it up and you're less likely to bin it because of that sort of just in case kind of worries around food safety. If you're popping your leftovers in the freezer, again, do make sure you label them to help you avoid UFOs in a few months' time, or unidentified frozen objects. Dating and labeling them will help you kind of down the track. And finally, we want to make sure that you are making the most of your freezer. So really, just you can think of your freezer as your food's pause button. So those 2-2-2 rules. Once you pop it in the freezer, that food is no longer going to grow bacteria or anything. It just hits pause, and it can keep them safe. Many dishes will last more than 2 months, and it's really about the quality. So the quality of that food can disintegrate over time, but it is still safe to eat. So make the most of your freezer for those leftover portions. But even if you've got little bits and bobs, so sauces, dips, herbs, milks, juices, pureed fruit and veg, that can all go in the freezer. We've got some cool content on our socials around popping it in an ice tray, and a really great way. Just all those little bits and bobs add up. So again, fantastic way to save yourself some money and a bit of time down the line when you go to eat it or to use it. Now we're going to head into a quick fire round now, but I'll just throw to Juno, see if there's anything in the chat.
Nope, everyone seems very happy with all the information, so that's great.
No questions. And as I said at the start, guys, if you've got thoughts on any of these or other tips and tricks that you use at home, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're all here to learn from each other and share our knowledge. So as I say, we're going to have a quick fire round now. I'll throw out a bunch of storage tips and ideas. But for some context, a few years back, Love Food Hate Waste partnered with the University of Otago to test storage practices for some common vegetables. And over the years, we've built up a bank of storage tips. So we've got a few today, but if you aren't sure how to store something, online, we also have, on our website, we also have an A to Z storage guide. Or AI is pretty fantastic as well. So if you're never quite sure, do just jump online and make sure you're storing things correctly. Okay, so first up, bread. In New Zealand, we throw away an incredible 20 million loaves of bread every year. Our humid climate means that bread doesn't really last that long in the pantry. So storing it in the freezer is best. Frozen bread can go straight into the toaster for breakfast, and if you use it for sandwiches for lunch, by the time you get to lunch, they've defrosted. But if you're not a fan of freezing bread, if you get through your bread pretty quickly, keep it in the original packaging and don't store it in the fridge. It'll actually go a little bit bit stale. It'll go stale quicker if you keep it in there. But if it does go stale, a loaf of bread can be really easily revived, especially if you bought that beautiful baguette from the bakery and didn't quite get through it all. You can just sprinkle a little bit of water on top, wrap it in tin foil, and pop it in the oven or the air fryer for a few minutes. And it's fresh and delicious all over again. Or, of course, you can transform stale bread into breadcrumbs or croutons for your salad. And again, on our website or on our social channels is some really great video footage of how to do those things. Now, salad greens like rocket or baby spinach, we know they can get all slimy in that plastic bag, so it's best to take them out, pop them in an airtight container, and they'll last up to 2 times longer. With your lettuce, either whole lettuce or half a lettuce, if you pop it in a reusable Ziploc bag along with a paper towel, it can last up to 4 times longer. And lots of people end up tossing away salad when there's only a little bit left, or there's not quite enough for a whole meal, or you've already dressed it and it's sort of starting to get a little bit soggy. But salad is super versatile, and you can really easily bulk it out with a can of tuna, a can of cannellini beans, maybe even a boiled egg, squeeze of lemon juice, bit of salt and pepper, and you've got a whole new meal. Full disclosure, this literally is my lunch, is my go-to lunch at home. Last night's leftover salad, bulked out, and fabulous, cheap lunch and delicious. It's criminal, but in New Zealand, we waste around $16 million worth of cheese every year. With cheese, we want to wrap it tightly in its original packaging, or place it in a cheese bag in the fridge. If you don't have a cheese bag, don't worry. You can wrap that block tightly in its original packaging and then wrap it in cling film or a beeswax cloth. Or a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag again, or can also work quite well. Saving leftover cheese is a great idea. You can pre-grate it and pop it in the freezer. And that frozen cheese is awesome to sprinkle on, over your nachos before they go under the grill, or throw it into a pasta bake, or basically anything that's going into the oven. And if you've got kids coming home with leftover sandwiches, add a bit of extra frozen cheese in there, make it into a toasty, and it's a whole new meal. And they don't even have to know that it was their leftover sandwich from lunchtime. We also love freezing random bits and bobs for a pizza night. So if you've got half an onion or half a capsicum, leftover bits and bobs from a pizza night, a burger night, like, pineapple rings, or you got those last few dodgy looking mushrooms at the bottom of your brown paper bag. Basically anything really, you can chop it up. And what's fantastic is you can get these multi-compartment containers and keep them all nice and tidy. Pop that in the freezer, and next time you need a really quick dinner, you've got ready to go toppings for a pizza night. If you don't have pizza bases, you could try using wraps, or English muffins, pita breads, or even toast. Same idea, zero fuss. And again, a really great way to get the kids involved and talk to them about food waste. You can say, oh, remember when we chopped this little half a tomato up and popped it in the freezer last week? So again, really fun, fantastic way to spark kids' excitement around reducing food waste nice and young. Next up, bananas. Now, many people don't know this one. Bananas, we need to keep stored away from all other fruit. So we don't want to pop them on top of the fruit bowl. It does look aesthetically pleasing, but it will make your bananas go riper quicker. So apples and pears give off ethylene gas, which can make those bananas ripen faster. And once the bananas are ripe, they then return the favor by speeding up ripening of the other fruit in the fruit bowl. So it's best to keep them out of the fridge and away from other fruits. If your bananas are heading past their best, we recommend peeling them, slicing them up, and freezing them so they're ready to use later on. Now, if you're like me and you end up with a freezer full of bananas, I definitely recommend you jump on our website and check out our 8 ways with bananas taking space in your freezer. There's some awesome recipes there, from banana and chocolate bread pudding. There's a wonderful caramel banana stuffed crust pizza. There's frozen banana bites, and there's a lovely suafai recipe, which is a Samoan banana soup. So plenty of inspiration, because I am super guilty of basically having half a shelf in the freezer packed with bananas. Now, parents often ask us, how do they store half a banana? Kids only want half a banana. And then it sort of sits on the counter and wilters away. So if you're going to eat that banana within 24 hours, leave the peel on if you can. Wrap the cut ends with a beeswax wrap or cling film, or just press it against the plate so less air hits it. It's really about not letting it get into contact with the air, and then keep it in the fridge. The peel will go brown, but the banana inside will stay fine. So if you're serving it back to the kids, maybe take that peel off before you put it on the plate in front of them. But yeah, if it's already peeled, you want to put it in an airtight container. You can add a squeeze of lemon or lime juice, and then again just pop it in the fridge. But again, if you won't use it up soon, freeze it, just peel it, slice it, and pop it in a container or bag. We would say, if you've got a whole lot, then it's good to kind of put it onto a tray, get them a little bit frozen, and then you can transfer them into a bag so it doesn't get all, or a glass jar, so it doesn't get all clumpy. But yeah, bananas are great frozen for weeks, if not months, and they're great for a smoothie as well in the morning. Now, carrots. Carrots in an airtight container lined with a paper towel will keep them lasting up to 10 times longer. So definitely worthwhile one with that. Potatoes and onions, you want to store those separately. Kiwi households throw away 4,700 tons of potatoes every year. So yeah, keep them separate and in a cool, dark, dry place. And I'm pretty sure many of you in the room are very good at tucking into cold roast veg the next day. We've seen lots of pictures coming through of roast vegetable salads that people have vlogged as part of the challenge. But people can also forget that cooked spuds and carrots freeze really well. So again, they reheat beautifully. So again, really great for a no fuss side on busy nights. So I'll pause there again in case we've got any questions around storage or thoughts, reactions. Anyone have any other tips in the chat?
Yeah, there's been some great tips in the chat actually. There was one from Francis. You can put the whole peeled banana in the freezer and eat them straight from the freezer and save those peels for a banana peel cake, which I thought was great. And I've just linked to a banana peel cake recipe that we have on our website as well. People are
awesome.
loving
We've also got that banana peel bacon recipe.
Yes.
Full transparency, I haven't tried it, but those that have tell me it's good.
The bacon. People are loving the storing pizza toppings in those containers as well. That was really great. And stir-fried iceberg lettuce has the same texture as bok choy. So that's another quick tip if you're looking for something a little bit different to add into your stir fry. Need to use your lettuce up. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now, just a reminder, guys, if with all these tips that you've come up with today, Jill will get those onto our tips, community tips section on the website. But if you do discover a new life hack or come up with something new, then again, just jump onto the Love Food Hate Waste website, go to the tip section, and you can add your tip. Because again, it's we also learn from our community. And sharing your knowledge with others is a great way that we can all contribute to reducing food waste in Aotearoa. Right, so this next section is really for those that might be a bit bored of reheating their leftovers. So we're going to talk through some legendary transformations. And again, welcome to drop any recipe ideas in the chat, or perhaps there's a favorite Love Food Hate Waste recipe that you have, that again, link it in the chat and people can check that out at the end. So leftovers don't mean eating the same meal twice. We don't have to kind of just do the same old day in, day out. We really can think of them as the base of a whole new creation, with most of the prep already done, which is fantastic, especially in those busy weeknights. So do check out our website or follow us on socials for lots of really easy inspiration. Last week we released a fabulous reel from Chef Simon Goult, which was his legendary leftovers pizza using up leftover bolognese. So we challenged him to say, we've only got half a cup of bolognese left. What do I do with it? An amazing pizza he came out with. So jump on there and check it out. We also have Jax Hamilton. She turned a tiny portion of leftover curry into beautiful wontons, and that can be dropped into a soup or pan fried, or they can be frozen for later. And then Man Can Cook this week, probably our most popular reel ever. So for those that haven't checked it out, I'd recommend you jump on our Instagram page and take a look. He transformed some leftover mac and cheese and chicken into the most legendary and delicious sandwich. So all of those recipes are on our website. We have an incredible recipe hub with lots of fun, creative and budget-friendly recipe ideas. You can search by ingredient, or you can just type in leftovers, from soups to stir fries to frittatas and more. The possibilities really are endless. I guess the other thing we want to emphasize is the most important thing when it comes to leftovers is don't be afraid. Utilizing leftovers and feeling confident in the kitchen is just like any other skill. It just takes time and a bit of practice and a little bit of creativity. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. I have had a few hiccups in the kitchen, all still edible, but I've learned from my mistakes, and again, I feel way more confident now, more than ever, on how to transform bits and bobs into something new. But I am also a great fan of using AI when I'm a bit stuck. So if I can't find anything on the Love Food Hate Waste website, I'll literally type into my favorite AI chat. Give me 3 quick dinner ideas using leftover roast chicken, half a bag of spinach, and a sad carrot. Or you could throw in, kid-friendly, or 20 minutes or less, or low carb, or high protein, whatever you're after. It can come back with some really fantastic inspiration. If you're not too confident in the kitchen, you can then say, give me step-by-step instructions, or link to an external website where I can watch a video. Really fabulous resource. So I'm curious to know if anyone in this room has been using AI in this way. And if you are, please drop into the chat your prompt. We'd love to see what works for you, because we know more and more people are using this to kind of kickstart their kitchen or cooking journey. Now, I talked a little bit about planning earlier, but we think this point is definitely worth repeating. So cooking one bigger batch, you've suddenly got, 2 or 3 meals for you working for you across the week. That means cooking less, which is fabulous if you're a busy person, but a less stress, less mental load during the week, and less time, standing at that stovetop, or with the oven on. So again, it can save you a bit of money by reducing power costs, and it can also save you a little bit of money if you're able to buy things in bulk. So if you're buying a larger portion of mince, for example, you might get it slightly cheaper. So our Recipe Remix cookbook is a fantastic place to start. We've got a really great chili mix option. So perhaps on a Sunday, again, when you've got a little bit more time, you might want to make a nice shepherd's pie. Then Monday night, it's the first day back at work, you're a little bit tired, you want something nice and easy, so you can go with your nachos. And then on Tuesday, you're all set with burritos. So again, these recipe remix ideas are fun, they're nice and budget friendly, and can help stretch that food a little bit further, and ensures that you don't sort of waste anything at the end of the day. So we're running pretty well for time, actually. I've got one more kind of quick fire round. So I'll throw to you, Juno, if there's any chats or any prompt recommendations or any further tips in the chat.
Not so much. There's been a few questions around storage, so I've linked to our storage page, and yeah, we've got a really great prompt from Scott in the comment section if anyone else is keen to give that one a go. And if anyone else has any prompts or free AI that they'd like to use, yeah, share it with everybody, because it's always good to try these things out.
Awesome. Alrighty, so next up we've got or to finish off, we've got our quick fire round of the top 5 recipes for using leftovers. Thank you to Jill for pulling these together. So at number 5 we have our quesadillas. So again, really quick and easy way to make leftovers tasty. You can make these in a sandwich press or in the oven or in the frying pan. And you can get really adventurous with your filling. I've made some pretty random quesadillas over the years. But, leftover vegetables, they might be raw or they could be cooked. Different meats, different sauces. I guess the key with a good quesadilla is be careful not to overfill it, otherwise it can get a bit messy to eat. Or when you get that kind of piping hot cheese down your arm. But yeah, very, very popular and a really fun, easy midweek meal. Next up, we've got these mock sausages. Now, when I first saw these, I was sort of like, what the? But they're a really fun and unique way to use up leftover roast meat and vegetables. The glue is mashed potato. So again, perhaps a fun thing you could do with kids of a certain age, maybe. And, the thing with mashed potato as well is it's a great something that freezes well. It freezes very well. So if you've got mashed potato in the freezer, pull that out and, use it with your leftover meat. And again, fun, different thing to do. Next up is it's from that same remix series we saw before. It's our recipe remix noodle soup. This is my go-to in winter. I love a soup. I pretty much live off soup. Love making a big batch and saving portions for later on. Again, really great for work, and a delicious flavor there. So yeah, links are on these pages. But again, if you just search recipe remix noodle soup on our website, should come up. Then we have at number 2 the peanut butter caramel smoothie. Now this is an awesome waste-free recipe that's perfect for breakfast or an afternoon pickup. This one comes from the Kiwi Harvest in Queenstown and Central Lakes. They had a hack-off competition I think it was last year, or perhaps the year before, where they had some fantastic chefs come up with some really awesome recipes, and they were generous enough to share it with us. This particular smoothie is a really great way to use up leftover fruit, especially from school lunches, ones that that apple that's been knocking around in the bottom of the bag, a bit bruised up, or if you've had a big harvest of a particular fruit and you haven't been able to get through them, they're sort of getting a little bit overripe. This is a really fantastic recipe, and again, it's a bit of my go-to afternoon pickup. And then finally, we've got this lovely cheesy casserole using leftover chicken, but you could sub that out for different meats. And it's also, the recipe calls for pumpkin, but again, it could be any other vegetable that you've got hanging around. And it's an absolute winner. It is cozy, budget friendly, and really delicious. And I love anything with a bit of cheese. So hopefully those have inspired you to jump on the site or change up your current recipe or meal plan rotation and try something new, especially as we head into the cooler months. Some of those dishes are really heartwarming and comforting in those darker winter days. So now you've had a bit of inspo up your sleeve, and you now know how to keep your leftovers safe and how to store them. So I guess that really is just, it's up to you guys now and to make sure that you actually eat them. So I know many of you have already joined the Leftover Legends Challenge and you're already logging our plates. But in case you haven't started yet, or someone sort of forwarded you this webinar and said you should join it and you don't know anything about the challenge, here it is. Now is the time to join. Just head to the Love Food Hate Waste website. All you need to do is log the plates of leftovers that you've saved throughout the month of March. Every plate logged unlocks more tips and tricks like you've heard today. But it also puts you in the draw to win that legendary prize thanks to Woolworths, which is free groceries for a year, or a $250 grocery voucher every week for an entire year, which is phenomenal. Now, we know that we have some legends in the room. Some of you may have even logged these plates that we can see on screen. It's been really amazing to see the photos coming through. There's a real mix of reheating the same dish again or remixing ingredients into something new, and we are loving it. We're getting lots of fabulous inspiration. At 10 o'clock this morning, or 10:30 this morning, we were up to 2,469 plates, which is amazing. So please do keep it up and inspire your friends to join in. For a little bit of North Island, South Island rivalry, we've got just over 1,800 plates logged in the north and just shy of 600 in the south. Which is pretty good, really, when you consider population. So we did take a look at that. Well, we got our AI friend to take a look at it and look at top location per capita. And drum roll, please, the current winning location is Whakatane. So big ups to Whakatane. I can see lots of people from the council there have been logging, so thank you for your support and a big shout out to you and your community. It really has been amazing, and we're not even halfway through, guys, so please do keep it up. Bring more people onto the onto the challenge. We want to get these tips and tricks out there to each and every household across New Zealand and really kind of build our confidence in using leftovers and being proud to eat our leftovers. So yeah, I guess I'll just throw to Juno before I do kind of final close up. Any further question? I'll come back, leave it on this lovely page before we head to the final slide.
There was just a question around, which I thought was quite a good one. Is it safe to freeze half-used cans of tomatoes or tomato paste? And I said, yes, it is. And a great tip there is to actually put it into little ice cube trays as well. And then you can just pop them out and put them in a Glad wrap bag and into the freezer so that you can just get a smaller portion out each time you cook. And there was a question. Oh, someone has asked, is there a way we can track the plates we have logged? Lots of people saying, I'd like to track that too.
Well, you could count them up if you zoom in on the map. It doesn't when you choose your suburb, it'll put you in that area. It doesn't necessarily put you in the exact same spot every time. I don't want to overpromise here, guys. We're a team of 3, so but if you were really keen to know the exact number of plates you logged by the end of March, you could drop us an email at info@, and we'll get back to you. And yeah, let you know how many plates you logged.
Yeah, definitely. I'll pop our email for that in the comments as well for anyone who's a keen bean.
Awesome. Okay, so that really just leaves us to say a massive thank you for being here with us today. We really do appreciate you taking the time to join the webinar. I hope you've picked up something new, or you're feeling inspired to take action. And you can see that, just making small changes at home can help fight food waste, can save you some money, and it's a really positive thing that you're doing for the planet. So yeah, big thank you to you. I also wanted to do one last shout out to Woolworths for sponsoring that amazing prize and really getting behind the campaign. Hopefully you've seen our Leftover Legends post of imagery on their digital screens in store, or perhaps heard it on their in-store radio. But also wanted to shout out the amazing folks over at Too Good To Go for getting behind the campaign, and our wonderful friends at Misfit Garden for backing this kaupapa and really helping us shine a light on food waste. We're really grateful for your support. So yeah, thank you again, everyone. And here's to wasting less, saving more, and making the most of the food we bring home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ka kite.
See you later, everyone.